Hi and Assalamualaikum. In this video, I am presenting my final year project which is developing food viral recommendation mobile application using geolocation with auto recommendation places. My name is Nur Ain Binti Zubari and my supervisor is Sir Muhammad Asrul bin Arshad. First is about our project background. When tourists are travel, they might unfamiliar to find food viral in certain location. By using in our application, it will recommend food areas based on user preferences. Rule-based system is used to determine the food recommendation for user. After the rule-based system generate the result, it now application will use the geolocation technique to find the food areas based on user current location. To generate the recommendation places, it will use three different API, which is Foursquare API, Upper Weather API to get the current weather, and Google Places API to get the details of the restaurant. And finally, in our application will generate auto recommendation places to user. Next is problem statement. The first problem is the lack of application of the platform for food recommendation. Based on the survey conducted, 77.5% of 71 respondents never installed any food recommendation on their phone to find popular eating places. Problem number 2 is higher time consumption to see a food location. 15.9% of 96 respondents often experience the difficulties to find food based on the nearest location. Problem number 3 is difficult to choose food based on preferences. 26.1% of 96 respondents have difficulties to choose food based on their preferences. And last, tourists are unfamiliar to choose food viral in certain areas. 71% of 96 respondents need to use social media to find food viral location. Next is the objective. First objective is to design and develop Ignite mobile application using geolocation with auto recommendation places. Second, to evaluate the effectiveness of mobile application using functionality, accuracy, and usability testing. Next is project scope. Ignite mobile application is built on the Android platform. For the data, we are gathered from three API, which is Foursquare API, Google Places API, and OpenWeather API. For the geolocation, we are using Google API. Lastly, user preferences. To determine the user preferences, we are using rule-based system. For the project significance, first, user acknowledge choosing food in certain areas. Ignite mobile application will make it easier to find food and its location based on preferences. And lastly, Ignite mobile application can minimize time consumption to find the nearest food location. For project architecture, first, user need to log into the application. Every user have their own account and user can set their own preferences. All the data will be stored inside the Firebase. In the recommendation engine, it will use rule-based system to determine food recommendation for user. First, it will retrieve the data from the Firebase. The data contain the current food preferences of users such as food culture, food preference, price level, and rating. Rule-based system will make some comparison and filtering. If user like the training location, it will use Foursquare API to get the training location. In certain time, rule-based system will make the recommendation based on current weather, and it will use the OpenWeather API to get the current weather of user location. After rule-based system generate the result, it will get the list of the restaurant from Foursquare API based on its category, and it will get the details of restaurant using Google Places API. Then, the recommendation engine will make some filtering for price level and rating based on the restaurant. Finally, it will show the recommendation result to user. Finally, we move to the highlight of the presentation, which is the Eat Now mobile application. If user does not have an account, user need to register an account first by enter an email and password. Then user need to fill the password. If user fill in the password less than 8 characters, the error message will show. What user can do is user can enter the password more than 8 characters. This pop-up will show because the application cannot detect the location. So user need to enable the location to use this application. It will redirect to the home page if the application can detect the location. So first thing first, what a user can do in this application, user can set the user preferences by clicking add icon. For preference food, let's say I put spicy, food culture, local. For minimum rating, let's say I put 1.2 and minimum preference price level is inexpensive. Trendy restaurant, yes, and recommended based on whether, yes. After that, user need to click set current preference. Then the list will be shown in this interface. User can also add another preference. I put bitter. Food culture Indian. Minimum price rating is 1.6. Inexpensive. Trending restaurant, no. Recommended based on weather, no. So set current preference. So this interface indicate two, which is the orange container and the grey container. The orange container indicate the current user preference, which is the now where I just key in and makan before the eat now. So for delete, user cannot delete the user current preference. User cannot delete, but user can delete the preference which are not current preference. Delete. Then just leave one. So let's go to Eat Now module. So first thing, best nearby. Best nearby is restaurant based on your best nearby, which is the most nearest location, restaurant location. This location we will show the most nearest of your location. For best nearby, it now have two view, which is the list view and the map view. This marker indicate the restaurant that recommended. User can click the marker to see the restaurant information, and for the direction, user can click the here, and it will direct to Google Maps. Right. Next is search restaurant. Search restaurant is the nearby restaurant based on the insert location or any other location. So let's say I put UITM Jasin. Then it will show the restaurant nearest of UITM Melaka campus Jasin. For another example, I put Krebang Melaka. So it will show the most nearest Klebang restaurant. So next is find restaurant. Find restaurant is you can find the food or restaurant of your current location. Let's say KFC. We enter KFC, search. Then it will list all the KFC near you, near of user current location. User can filter by the category and maximum limit. Let's say I put 3 KFC and fast food breakfast. Then user need to enter search button. And it will list the only three list of restaurant KFC. Finally is the highlight module of Ignore mobile application, which is My Restaurant. My Restaurant is recommended places based on user preferences. It is using the geolocation technique and 3 different API, which is Foursquare API used to get trending food or restaurant and different food category. Open Weather API used to get the current weather of user location. And lastly is Google Places API, which to get the details of the restaurant suggested by Foursquare API. In this module, firstly, the application will get the data from Cloud Firestore about the user current preferences, and it will make some comparison and filtering based on the rule-based system. Then, after the rule-based generate the recommendation, it will be called the Foursquare API to get the food or restaurant, and then finally the Google Places API will get the details of the restaurant. After the Google API get all the restaurant, it will filter based on the rating, preferred rating, and the preferred price level, and then it will show to the user. This is the example of the My Restaurant module. Before this, we already insert the user preference, which is the food culture is Indian. So user can click go to My Restaurant to access My Restaurant module. User need to wait for a while since this module have a lot of process to do, and it will show the recommended places based on the user preferences. So price level is 2, rating is more or less 4 star, and if user edit the preference, let's say we want the minimum rating is 5 and price level is very expensive, and set current preference and go to My Restaurant. This example is to indicate that this application do a filtering, a bit of filtering, that it will filter the rating and the price level, since the user preference price level rating is 5 and the price level is expensive. There are no result found. User can edit back and put back minimum rating is 1.3 and inexpensive. Yeah, it will show the result. Another example is for local culture. So we change to local and set current preference. Then go to My Restaurant. It will show the local restaurant at this location. So to give the other example, I use the fake GPS, which fake GPS is used to set the other different location in our phone. So in this case, I put Teluk Bahang and start. Then and it will be suggested the local restaurant at Teluk Bahang. I think that's all from me. Thank you.